if you want to be a ruler in Satyug, if you want to be somebody who rules the kingdom in Satyug, then you have to be an instrument in creating Satyug. Because only the one who creates has a right to ownership. Yes, so if you have not created a house, do you have the right to ownership there? No. So Baba says that we have to create Satyug if you want to have ownership in Satyug. Now, just ask yourself, what are you creating? And are you creating at all? Because you see, we are not the ones who create in Kali Yuga. We are the ones who react. Yes, and if you keep reacting, then do you have the power to create? Because reaction is dictated by the behavior of the other or the quality of the situation outside. So if you're always reacting, how will you create? The one who is a slave cannot be a master. So if we are a slave of our own body, our own sanskars, our situations, the people around us, if we are a slave, if our mind is a slave to the behaviors and situations outside, then how can such a mind be a creator or a master? Because a creator is a very powerful position. And if you are always reacting like a slave, if you are subservient, if you are the one who feels you are a victim of your situations and people around you, then how can you create? So just check, what is my consciousness? Do I feel that I am the master of the body and I am the master of my mind and I am the master of my context of life, I am the master of my life? Or do you feel that I am a victim, or I am somebody who is in the receiving end and everything else around me is dictating how I think, how I feel? Because in such a situation, you cannot be a creator. Now, I was just thinking about the fact that there are so many things that are constantly happening in and around you. And what happens is, if you check your mind is so busy reacting to everything that where is the time to create? If you see, if you really check, we are always having an emotional reaction to whatever is happening around me. And an emotional reaction means a lot of waste thoughts, a lot of waste feelings, feelings of disappointment, sorrow, this, that, or maybe anger also. And when these kind of feelings are always dominating your mind or filling your mind, how can you be a creator? So it is very important to check whether I am able to use the Trishul, the 3 points of the soul, Baba and Rama. And if we are always busy reacting to things because we are not using these 3 points which put a full stop, then how can we create? Because you write a new sentence after you put a full stop to one sentence. So creation is a new sentence. So first reaction has to be put full stop to. Without putting a full stop to reaction, you cannot be a creator. So this is something that I was thinking about today. And you see, whenever something happens, now there are many people in the world who suggest that when something happens, don't think about it. Okay, somebody misbehaves with you, don't think about it. There's a difficult situation, don't think about it. But the thing is, you cannot not think. You can either think positive or negative. Do you get me? Do you agree that if you don't use the power to transform your thoughts, you don't use the power to transform your feelings, then you will feel and think negatively. And sometimes, people are just trying to tell themselves 100 times, don't think, don't think, don't think about that. But if you're not giving your mind and intellect what to think and where to focus, then it will always be pulled by the other thing that, I want to think this and focus on this. Because you have to give another direction to the mind and buddhi. So that in that context, there is a great importance attached to the power of transforming, the parivartan shakti, what Baba calls. So we have to use our power to transform our thoughts and feelings. Now, how do you do that? You do that with knowledge. So today Baba also establishes a connection between thinking in a knowledgeful way and thinking, positive and powerful in every situation. So there are two words in Hindi. Those who do Shubh Chintan become Shubh Chintak. So when you decide to think positive about every person, about every situation, so the first thing is, if you are not churning knowledge always inside you, you cannot think positive in a situation or with regard to a person. Let me give you a very simple example. So you see, there is this Mata, and she was once telling me that my husband and I had an argument, and I was not even trying to, I was not hitting him or doing anything. I was just standing close to him, and what he did is he pushed me so hard, and he said, "You're trying to hit me," and he pushed me so hard that my shoulder, it broke and I had a lot of pain in it. So she told me that this is a very violent person, and how can I think positive about this person, and it is impossible to think positive about this person. So I said, you see that if it was somebody else, then I would have told you that, just know that this is a weak soul. But since this is your husband, you know a lot about your husband, don't you? So so she said, yes. So I said, just tell me, what are his fears? So she told me that he had an injury many years back, and because of his injury, he has a lot of pain in the back. And whenever he's always afraid that somebody shouldn't attack him. So I told her, you see, if you look closely, he was not attacking you, he was defending himself. And when people are defensive, they become very attacking. So you think, so for you it's an attack, but for him it's a defense. He thought, or maybe, in that situation where there was a lot of anger and whatever exchange between you two, he felt that maybe you will hit him, and maybe that will end up damaging his back. And he felt so vulnerable at that time that he pushed you because he didn't want to be hit, and he ended up hurting you. That's a different thing. But then if you look at it, it is just his fear that was acting. So then she sat down and she said, yes, I have seen him, in many situations. He just abruptly, when she told me that when once we were in traffic and there was somebody who was coming at a very high speed, and he just came to the side with so much force that everybody around was shocked. So I have seen him doing these things because he has a lot of fear about the vulnerability of his back. So you see, this is a physical fear, so fear of attack of the body. Some people have very psychological fears. You see, somebody will attack my ego, or somebody will just make me feel lesser than I am. So these are also fears that people carry. So if you look closely, if you know somebody closely and you look at them with compassion, you can also understand the fears and other motivations that are motivating everybody's behavior. And in my experience, I have understood that it is a very good method using this, using this knowledge that everybody who is performing a bad act is coming from a place of weakness. So, Baba says souls are not bad, they are weak, and weak souls perform bad actions. So, when somebody performs a bad action, they are weak, and you look at them with that drishti that there is something, some suffering, some trauma, something that they are going through, or some fear, some kind of insecurity. And when you try to look at that, you figure out, it's not very difficult, you figure out very easily that every soul who is behaving badly is actually suffering. And when you understand this thing, then you see all your negative thoughts are changed into positive. And it is very important to keep your mind full of good wishes and good feelings. But how will you change ill feelings which stem up in a situation or in the face of somebody's behavior into positive feelings or good feelings when you use knowledge in that scene? And it is a personal experience, and I have felt that when you use knowledge in every scene, when you try to understand rather than blame or label or judge or create sorrow and self-sabotage yourself, if you don't do that, to use knowledge, you have to be very dispassionate. You cannot be knowledgeful and emotional. Do you understand that? So compassion doesn't come from an emotional place. Attachment comes from an emotional place. But compassion is a very spiritual thing. To be compassionate is to be very spiritual. Compassionate is not emotional, because you see, emotions are like a seesaw. So when you have, emotions of attachment, tomorrow you will have emotions of hatred also. So you keep swinging between these two seesaws, because that is how emotions work. So one day you're crying for somebody, and then the other day you're hurling abuses at them. Have you not seen that? So that is emotional state. But compassion doesn't come from emotion. Being compassionate, being rahim dil, what Baba says, is a very knowledgeful thing. So when you understand the weakness of a soul, or even if sometimes you're not able to figure out what is the weakness or what is the trauma they are carrying, so you can just understand principally that every soul who is engaging in bad behavior is weak and insecure and fearful, or has some or the other ego or something else which is triggering that behavior. And I will tell you one thing, there was this Mata I saw, and whenever anybody will start talking about their children, she would start talking about her children first. and she would always try to keep her children ahead of their children, even if they even if they don't know each other. And then, when somebody talks about their house, she will start talking about her house and how big her house is, and how with so much of effort that house was made, and how great her husband is, or these things would just start. And then there were many matas who came and they told me, we can't talk to this woman, she's always praising herself and always doing this. So I said, why don't you think, why does somebody need to praise themselves? Because they have not been praised enough. Do you understand? Why do you need to beat your own trumpet? Because nobody beat the trumpet for you. So when nobody appreciates you from childhood, you start appreciating yourself, and this is how it looks after a certain period of time, because you have sought respect and praise so much that now you can't praise anybody, you can only praise yourself. You can only respect yourself, you don't have respect for anybody. So I said, this is how it works, so it's okay. So let her just have this spiritual journey, and maybe she'll do better tomorrow. So this is how you see. And even if you see somebody is coming into Gyan, and you see these behaviors, and even if after 20 years they don't change, but if you hold this knowledge in your awareness, in the Lokik family, in the Alokik family, if you just hold this awareness, if you use knowledge in your thought process, then what happens is you stay away from ill feelings. You are always a Shubh Chintak. You are always thinking positive and having good feelings for each one around you. And when you do that, you see, then this Shubh Chintak will make you, this stage will make you earn blessings. Whose blessings? Baba's blessings. Because Baba blesses those who have good feelings and good wishes for others. So this is something. Now, Baba tells us that you have to do this inner work for yourself if you want to not have a negative reaction to everything going on around you. Because you see, negative thoughts, negative feelings are very forceful. Psychology says that positive thoughts and feelings are like a breeze. They are very subtle and very slow and very subtle actually, not gross, not very solid. They are like the breeze, it's very subtle. And negative feelings are like a sledgehammer. They are very profound, they are very, they are very fast, more in number. Positive thoughts and feelings are very few, very less in number. And so this is the nature of difference between positive thoughts and feelings and negative thoughts and feelings. Now you see, in order to and so this is why negative feelings pull you very hard. So when you start thinking negative, your mind doesn't stop. And when you start thinking positive, you have to create continuously because it's not automatic. You have to generate, you have to maintain that stage of positive thought and feelings with effort, because this is the way things are in Kali Yuga. So it's not like it is always like this, but because it is Kali Yuga, and the momentum and the environment for negative feelings is very conducive, and negative thoughts and feelings are supported by the Kali Yugi environment. So this is why they are supported by a sanskars of thoughts and feelings also. So this is why they are great in number, they are very impactful, and they don't stop. It's a very continuous way in which they work. But positive thoughts and feelings have to be created and sustained, and they require effort. And in a day, you meet so many situations in which you can think negative, feel negative, and then you have to do this inner work of transforming those thoughts and feelings and coming to a place using knowledge. First thing is using knowledge, because if you don't use the knowledge of the soul, if you don't use the knowledge of Baba, if you don't use the knowledge of the drama, then you cannot change your feelings. I just gave you an example of using the knowledge of the soul, but you can also use the knowledge of Baba, that you see everybody is Baba's child. Yes, and any child of God is worthy of respect. So even if they are at the worst, you have no right to disrespect God's child. So you cannot think mean and negative about any child who is God's child. So can you please a parent by criticizing his child? If you have negative feelings for a child, will the parent love you? They cannot love you. So you have to understand that this is God's child and I cannot have negative feelings for any God's child. And let me tell you, Baba loves all his children. Baba loves all his children. Whether you think they are worthy of his love or not is immaterial. Baba loves all his children. So you cannot have negative thoughts and feelings for any child of Baba and then think that, Baba, I will get blessings from Baba. It doesn't work like that. So you can also use the knowledge of Baba to transform your feelings from negative to positive. And you can also use the knowledge of drama, that even if the scene looks bad, it is for good. So when you use the knowledge of the drama, so you see there is when I was in office, I heard this thing, aap roote hum chute. So when somebody is annoyed with you, then sometimes that's also a method to be free. How, you see, I remember there was this one lady who was working with me in office, and the boss got very upset with her, and then he stopped calling her. So she told me, aap roote hum chute. So she said, when the boss is angry, it's good because he doesn't call me. So I said, what if he doesn't give you a promotion or something? So she said, that will be handled later, but right now he was troubling me a lot. So I thought this is a good thing that happened. So you see, many a times you can just have this attitude that whatever is happening in the moment is good. Maybe in a later moment you want something else, but in the moment, whatever is happening is good. So it builds acceptance. Now the boss is anyways angry, so what to do? So at least think that, I have less work to do, because how else will you, calm your mind? If you keep thinking the boss is angry, what to do, and the boss is not listening, how do you go and talk to him? So this is how she handled it. And Baba says that it is in every situation, just think that, this situation is favorable for me, and find something which makes you hold to this idea that it is favorable to me, and work with it. Then you will have positive thoughts and feelings in that situation. And slowly you will also discover that yes, it was favorable for you. So when you keep transforming your thoughts and feelings, which are reactionary, because you see, our mind is busy with reaction. And as is our mind, so is our, yesterday Baba said that thoughts are like a seed, and your attitude, your feelings, your actions, everything is like a tree stemming from that seed. So if you want to change your attitude, your actions, your state of mind, anything, what you have to do is first work on your thought, because the thought is the seed. And when you keep using knowledge constantly to change your thought process, then what happens is you are able to have positive attitude, positive feelings, and put the thoughts of this world to rest. Yes, Only then can you go to the zone of creation. Where does creation happen? In the subtle world. You cannot be body conscious and create. You cannot be, aware in the awareness of this body and this physical world and create. You have to detach from this physical body and physical world and sit with Baba, whether it is with angelic Baba or with incorporeal Baba, and then you create. You create your own best version. Yes, when you go to the angelic world, what do you create? You create your Farishta stage. Yes, and you also send vibrations to a new world that, everybody is pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful, and you are creating it with your thoughts. Or when you are not in reaction, then whatever words you speak, they are like blessings to another one, and you uplift them, encourage them, you instill hope and faith in them, you bring them closer to Baba. And whatever actions you do, whether it is cooking food, whether it is taking care of the house or working in an office, you do it in a Karam Yogi state. You are in remembrance of Baba, and you keep sustaining the environment and your activities with Baba's energy, Baba's vibrations. So Baba says this is how you create a new world. And then you see, if you are very body conscious, then all your, just like your time and thought is going into just feeding your ego and reacting to the old world. Similarly, all your body and wealth is also going into the old world. But when you stop, when you detach yourself from this old world and old body, only then will you be able to invest your mind, body and wealth in the creation of a new world. And when you do that, then you will be able to have ownership in the kingdom that you create. So this is something that Baba tells us. And then Baba today tells us that I am giving you Shrimat, which enables you to be so wise that you do not need advisors in Satyug. And Baba says in Satyug you don't need advisors, you don't need gurus. So a guru is required to give us Jivan Mukti, Sadgati. Now what is Jivan Mukti or Sadgati? It's a state where you have happiness in life. So there is life devoid of sorrow. So Satyug is a state of being where there is life but there is no sorrow. So Baba says, you always want the Satguru to give you Mukti and Jivan Mukti, and you want them to take you from sorrow to a world of peace and happiness. So Baba says, I am that Satguru who gives you 21 births in that world of happiness and peace. And when you go there, you don't look for a guru. Here everybody is unhappy, so they are looking for gurus, right? But when everybody is happy, you don't need a guru in Satyug. And then Baba says you don't need an advisor in Satyug also. Now, do you need advisors today? Yes? Do you need how many of you take a lot of advice from everybody around you? So you see, people keep asking, even when they want to buy a dress, they'll keep asking 10 people, should I buy blue or yellow or red or white or what? And everybody will give a different advice. And then you see, seeking advice from human beings is not a very good idea, because human beings have different sanskars, right? So everybody is different and everybody gives an advice according to their sanskar and their capacity, right? So what is a right thing to do for somebody may not be the right thing to do for you. So seeking advice is a very big idea. Now if I go shopping and ask somebody for help from my Lokik family, they will ask me to buy red and yellow and blue. But I don't need that advice because I don't wear that kind of clothes. But they will always say, if white was tainted with some red, some yellow, it will look very nice. But it will look nice for them, not for me. Because every soul is different, their journey is different, their buddhi is different, their sanskars are different. But we keep seeking advice from everybody. And you see, everybody's advice is also subjective. So there is really no objective advice in this world. Because everybody, whatever they advise in any situation, they have their own prejudices, their biases, their own subjectivity, their own ideas of right and wrong, and everybody is prejudiced. Yes, everybody has their own bias. There is nobody who is unbiased in this world. So when you ask for advice, you are opening yourself up to a lot of trouble. Now Baba says, then in this scenario Baba comes and Baba gives us the Shrimat, which is true for each and every soul. Shrimat is true for each and every soul. Now, let me give you a very simple example, the difference between Shrimat and Parmat. So, what the world teaches you and what Baba teaches you. So, there is this one Mata, she told me that when I was a little child, my mother taught me that you should listen to everybody, yes, but you shouldn't convey one person's message to another person, which means you shouldn't gossip. So you listen to this person also, that person also, keep it in your stomach and don't tell this person about the other and that person about this. So she told me this thing, that I have this principle and I never tell anybody about anybody. And I told her, but Shrimat doesn't tell you that. Shrimat tells you only listen to that which is worthy. If anybody is telling you something that is not necessary to know, or that is not of any use to you, or any use for your progress, even if it's useful in a body conscious way, they are talking about your enemy and it feeds your ego to know that you have a common enemy and they also hate him too much. So that is not something that's uplifting you. So Shrimat tells you, have very good discretion about who you listen to. Because Baba says that when there is a little ant and it enters the ear of an elephant, it drives the elephant crazy. Yes, so do not dismiss the power of words. Baba, God, heals us, makes us pure through words. So words have great power. So do not make yourself susceptible to those words which do not help in your growth and progress. So Baba tells us this thing. Second thing, if there is something that you have to tell somebody which is good and which is, which helps then progress, even if it has come from some other source, why not tell them? Yes, so I told her, if somebody tells you that I know that there is going to be a robbery in this house and you have made this principle that I will not tell them because it's not my idea to tell somebody. If somebody gave you an information, then you are helping that robbery. So this principle doesn't work always. If there's something that another person needs to know, so that they can progress, or they are saved from damage, then why not tell them? And you may not name somebody, but you can at least tell them that this is something that you need to know, and this is something that is in my in my awareness, that you need to know about for your self progress. So I told her that Srimad is the only thing that helps you. There are many ideas with which we develop ourselves, with which we nurture ourselves right from the beginning of this life, and we also carry many things from past lives. But if you hold on to Srimad, then what Srimad does is, Srimad gives you the confidence that when you do things on Srimad, your self-confidence increases. And when you do something on Parmat, you become a more and more self-doubting person gradually, because you're listening to everybody's advice, and even if you have made some principles for yourself, that principles are not resulting in accurate action. And when your actions are not accurate, the results make you doubt yourself. So Baba tells us that when you follow Srimad, at every step, just listen carefully to what Baba says for hearing, seeing, listening, talking. So Baba tells us that you must guide everybody for self-growth. Baba never says that if it came from somebody, never share it with somebody, because even if it helps them, why help them? So Baba has not told us that. So we must check everything according to Srimad. And when you follow Srimad, your actions are always accurate, and accurate actions build self-confidence. And when you have a lot of self-confidence, then you will be able to take decisions for yourself in Sangam Yuga also, and in later life in Satyug also. You will not need an advisor. You will be wise enough to take every decision in your own accord. Okay, Om Shanti.